All right, welcome to session or episode number 4 for Tavern Ramblings from Lizards and Locations. I'm one of your hosts, John, and I'm also here with...
Andrew, and I think you can call them sessions. I think that's valid.
Yeah, okay, sessions works too, right?
It definitely goes into the theme.
The D&D, yeah. So, our last 3 sessions that we did, we looked at the 3 ideas between martial, arcane, and divine. Now we want to get into some more nitty-gritty stuff, right? You know, some of that Unearthed Arcana stuff that's coming out. And we didn't want to go too far back, right? So we said, hey, let's start with playtest 6 because, they're about to do the survey results. As of right now, they haven't done the survey results, but we've done the survey for it. And we're waiting on those results and seeing what's going to change. 7 has already just come out not too long ago. The survey's out for 7. It's still ongoing for 7. So we felt like 6 was a pretty good spot to start. Would you agree, Andrew?
Yeah, just because anything before now has been basically rewritten anyway, and like even now in 6, a lot of the stuff in 6 is no longer a thing from 7, and it's more the overarching things and not necessarily the classes that we're going to be talking about in playtest 6. But yeah, it's a fast moving, fast paced game, and it's changing just as fast. So
yeah, and we talked about it last time. Their deadline is up and coming if they want to start getting to print. That 2024 deadline is just around the corner.
I've heard that the last playtest is going to be 9. I feel like I think they had 9 playtests in mind, and then after that, it was basically hit the go button and try and get that 2024 player's handbook out. And like, I feel like it's only October. Like, you could probably get playtest 9 in by January, February, and then once that's finalized, a month later, March, and then March until June. That's 3 or 4 months to get everything published and distributed. Like, it's a tight timetable from a logistics point of view. But like, Hasbro's a pretty big company, so they could do it if they need to.
Yeah, and maybe once they start going a little bit closer, they might just start looking on only releasing stuff that they need to fix. Like, why release the same thing that we've seen 7 times?
Well, I feel like it's already gotten to the point where they've stopped doing like the really crazy stuff, and now it's just going to be refinement.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think 6 is going to be the last time we see like a big change. Like 7, I get it, but like I guess 7 has like reversions that are big changes. But
yeah, the reversions are the big part.
Yeah, so like we're not gonna get too much into 7, but like a lot of things from 5 to 7 got reverted.
Mm-hmm. And we're expecting the same between 6 and 8.
Yeah, I imagine a lot of things we're going to talk about today are going to be no longer relevant in a month or so, but that's fine. We can talk about them now.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and dive into it. So the first thing we want to kind of talk about is just what's being covered in the 6th playtest, and we can probably argue that it's one of the biggest playtests of all the playtests they've released.
There's definitely a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they've released 7 classes, and then each class has multiple subclasses, including 2 new subclasses overall. The classes we'll talk about today, we have Bard, Cleric, Druid, Monk, Paladin, Ranger, Rogue, and like I said, each one of those has subclasses. And then we have 2 brand new subclasses that I think we should spend some time talking about, which is the College of the Dance for the Bard and the Circle of the Sea for the Druid.
We could absolutely talk about those. And I just want to point out that it's a little bit funny that the 3 classes that we talked about last episode are back.
Yeah.
They're all here.
Yeah. The Divine.
Oh, boy.
So we have also just a few more things that are going to be in this. We're going to talk a little bit, not too much about spells. They have a few revised spell lists. The reason why we're not going to dive too much into it is because, honestly, playtest 7 does a big spell change because they get rid of the 3.
Yeah.
Arcane, Divine, and
that's a big
Primal,
change, especially for the first class up, which is Bard, because in this playtest, they were saying, oh yeah, Bard, you can choose from the 3 spell lists. And those don't exist anymore, so... Not so much.
Yeah. We see some feats that are revised in this, as well as some new support ones. And then we also see just a little bit, not too much, of weapon mastery changes and just a couple of rules glossary changes. But that's pretty much the overview of what we're looking at here,
Mm-hmm.
So we should really just start going and diving into it. So what did you see that was good in the class changes? Anything really catch your eye? For me, it was the bard. I like the switch back on bardic inspiration where it's no longer waiting to see if I failed. I can use my bardic inspiration once I know I failed.
Yeah, and that was always nice. a weirdly worded thing. Like, it's like, oh yeah, well you like, oh, do you want to use it? Are you sure? Like, it's much easier to be like, here it is, you didn't make it. Do you want to use your bardic inspiration? I feel like that's just how most game tables would play it anyway. So to have it codified is good, and also like it is in
lasting an hour is nice.
Yeah, lasting an hour is nice, and I do like that they took away the healing aspect of it.
Yeah, that was pretty OP, if we're being honest, right?
Well, it was just one of those things where, and this happens a lot in 5th edition, where like you get a thing and then you forget that it exists, or you have it and you don't want to use it until you need it. Like, oh well, I'm gonna keep this healing until I'm like almost dead, and then you just hold on to the bardic inspiration dice for the entire session.
Forever. Yeah.
It's like, well, that's no fun.
You just keep hoarding.
Yeah, that's no fun. We don't want to do that. Keeping with the bard, I do like that they fixed counter charm. It being a reaction instead of an action is the most obvious change that's ever been made to 5th edition.
Yeah.
So, like, counter charm made no sense back there, and I do enjoy the words of creation. Kind of like, I've kind of unraveled the mysteries and the secrets of speech and wordplay to the point where like now I can just kill you. It's very fun.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah, and I like that magical secrets is no longer just a College of Lore thing.
Yeah,
it was like, hey, no, bards in general should have magical secrets. You know, so I like that being a class thing, not a subclass thing.
Yeah, I think that allowing the bard, and especially now that they're not going to have that kind of flexibility that they were expecting to have in playtest 6, since it's gone, like from the spell list, like it is definitely a good idea to just have a wide-ranging option for like, oh, there's a cool spell over here that I just want to kind of yoink.
Yeah. So I'd say the biggest change for the bard was the brand new subclass, though, right? That College of Dance.
Yeah.
Which we've seen homebrews. I think people have made some homebrew versions of dance before.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really powerful. I think it has a lot of good, like that whole unarmored defense is really nice.
I mean, unarmored defense isn't necessarily unique to the bard. It is cool that they get it in that it's kind of like
Dex plus charisma.
Yeah, it's interesting that it's charisma. That's a strange one, but I don't hate it. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has a lot of interesting things and a lot of really wild ways to help your teammates. I don't think I've ever seen this is the first time I've seen a evasion effect where you can give it to somebody else.
Yes.
Very interesting.
It's kind of inspiring and tactical in the way it's designed.
Yeah, it definitely leans into the support area of the bard. Like that kind of area, like, oh yeah, I'm helping this person, or I'm helping my teammate, or I'm, trying to do some other things with inspiration. A lot of movement.
How fun is it that they put the Otto's Irresistible Dance into the actual subclass, by the way?
I think that's pretty fun. I gotta say that definitely, if you're gonna give that subclass a spell that is like its signature spell, it would be Otto's Irresistible Dance. It's just fun.
Yeah, I like it a lot. There's I agree that this really does fit into the support class. One, that unarmored defense thing is going to give them a little harder to hit, so they can keep providing that support to others, right?
Yeah, they're not quite at Blade Singer levels of AC, but it's pretty good.
Yeah. I didn't see anything.
It's got +5/+5 to your dexterity and charisma, which I guess is possible if you're doing 4d6 minus lowest.
Oh, true. Yeah. I didn't see anything groundbreaking in the other subclasses for Bard, unless you did. Everything seemed like pretty reasonable balance changes.
I mean, the College of Glamour always having command was pretty cool. I liked that. College of Lore is pretty cut and dry, get cutting words, magical discoveries. It doesn't sound like the sexiest version of the bard, but it is definitely, in my opinion, the most flexible, because you get all of those extra magical discoveries.
Yeah.
And then you get the peerless skill, which is roll a bardic inspiration die and add the number rolled to d20. Like, that's really, like, you just get it to do to your, like, automatically.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that's nice.
Yeah.
It is in College of Valor kind of didn't really do much for me.
Not much, just more the martial side, like adding the, what does it say, the bonus proficiency?
Yeah, like you get martial training, you get the bonus proficiencies, you get some inspiration dice for like offensive and defensive stuff, which is fun. And like that's a very powerful thing that they can do. But it's like, if you're gonna do a melee character, there are easier ways to do this. There are better ways to do it too. But, you know, if you want to play a bard and you want that specific area of, like, Spellblade, like, then you don't want to be a Hexlock for whatever reason, it's pretty good.
Yeah. It feels more like, I don't know, this is just me, but College of Valor feels more like a kind of an NPC kind of, like, reasoning, rather than, like, I'm going to build my character as a College of Valor. Like, I can see, like, oh, this guy's a bard, but he's very sword-like, very martial. So, you know what I mean?
Sure.
You know, he attended the College of Valor, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where, like, you have the most proficiencies, but, like, they get extra attack at level 6, which is right around where...
instead of 5, yeah.
Well, instead of 5, which is just like the Blade Singer, but they only get the thing where... Like, after you cast a spell that has a casting time as an action, then you can make an attack. Like, it's level 13. That's a long way up to get something that's not exactly super powerful. Like, that's a weird one.
And it's something that, honestly, a lot of characters don't ever get to, level 14. You
know?
Yeah,
like, what is it? Like, 70% of campaigns stop at, like, 12, 13? So, like, once you get to level 14, or, like... And, like, that's the capstone of the subclass, is get a bonus action, as, like, use a weapon deck as a bonus action. Like, what? little bit not great, but whatever.
Yeah. Moving on to Cleric, another one of our classes that we're looking at. Anything really positive jump out at you from the Cleric? Did they keep... I can't remember. It's been a little bit since I looked at this one. Did they keep the Divine Spark thing? I think they did.
Divine Spark, I believe that is a specific
Channel Divinity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. They added it actually earlier, technically, but I liked it. It was a healing thing that you could use your Channel Divinity for.
It was one of those things where it made sense, because it's bringing back a little bit with the old style Cleric that I think I talked about last episode, where they used to be able to just take a spell and make it a healing spell.
Mm-hmm.
It's not quite the same thing, but you're using a Channel Divinity slot, or that particular... I want to say material. That's not the word I'm looking for.
Mechanic.
No, that's not it either. It's like the fuck. It'll come to me. Don't worry about it. Like, it's a resource. That's it. A specific resource that, like, and we'll talk about this eventually, because the monk is in here, I'm pretty sure. Like we said, I think we forgot about.
Yeah.
Like, the monk, not to jump the gun, has the same issue it's always had, in that it has one resource, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it's good when I see things like this, where, like, okay, they've got a different resource they can use, as opposed to, like, only this that you get for a long rest, and then this you get per whatever, and then you have another thing that you can use, and it's good to spread those kinds of resources around, so the cleric has different things they can do, and not necessarily run out and then can't do shit. Monk.
Yeah. It reminds me, and what I like about the cleric, at least what they're doing here, is it reminds me of what they did with the rogue. They took a identity mechanic, like, Channel Divinity is an identity part of the cleric, and just like sneak attack is a identity for a rogue, and they said, hey, can we add more to this mechanic? You know what I mean? Can we add another resource to it, like you were saying? And so they said, hey, how about we also allow a healing option? just like the sneak attack now can do the like the tripping and prone and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I love that. I love taking something that's been established and said, let's make it even better. It's the thing we'll get there eventually. It's the thing I keep saying with the fucking ranger. Do that with the ranger. Take your mechanic and make it better. You know?
Yeah, for sure. And I will say this about the cleric specifically. It's very loaded into like the class. Like the class itself has a lot of like new and good stuff, whereas the subclasses are a bit more flavor than specific like power. Like they're still they still have plenty of domains. Like all the domains have their ups and downs, but like you look at how much stuff they gave to the cleric. Like there's a lot of stuff they gave to him.
Yeah, bless strike, smite undead. Like I mean, there's quite a bit of changes going on to the actual class itself.
Yeah, like every cleric gets commune. Every cleric gets smite undead. Every cleric gets the blessed strikes and improved blessed strikes, even though it's 14th level.
Yeah,
and it's crazy.
This was it. I think I'm correct in saying that this is also the first playtest that said, okay, we know you like the epic boons, but we're also going to give you your 20th level feat as well. You know what I mean? This is the playtest where they said epic boons are here to stay, but we need to also give you something else for hitting level 20.
Yeah.
So I like that they did that too.
Having a capstone that's actually flavored to the class, I think, is important, even though Wizards of the Coast has proven that it's very difficult to make good ones for each class. Because some capstones in the 5th edition are very good and some are laughable.
yeah for sure.
So it's just one of those things where you have to find that balance, and I honestly really like epic boons. I think epic boons are a good thing to have. You need to be prepared for them, though. You have to understand that like this is a thing that will most likely break your game unless you are prepared to deal with what that character can do now that it has, some god ability, which is fine.
Yeah, as far as subclasses for the cleric, it looked like most of the things that for like the life domain was just being a little bit more clear. Like I guess there were some interpretation. I never played life domain, but like I guess there were some discrepancies or unclear things about the healing, whether it was extra hit points or not based on the spell slot extended. So when I'm looking at the changes, a lot of it's saying yes, it is extra. You know what I mean? Like it's a clarification.
They added a sentence that made it clear how much what you're getting. Like that's fine. And
so that seems like most of the stuff.
But like life domain, it does a thing. It heals you. That's what it does.
Yeah. Yep, and it heals better than any other cleric class, right? Like that's the main thing about it.
I would argue it heals better than basically anybody. It has so many healing spells. It just gives them to you.
Okay.
Yeah, you always have listed spells prepared. It's like aid, bless, cure wounds, mass healing word, revivify. Like, just you always have them. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a little strange that the cleric domain spells are so high level. I mean, I guess because like it used to be like you had like first, third, fifth, seventh, and like they've upped it to each time like third, fifth, seventh, ninth, which isn't out of the realm of possibilities because like you can probably get to level 9. You probably will in any specific encounter or specific campaign, but it's interesting. It's also interesting that it goes from, in terms of like the subclass things you get, from 6th level, and then the next one you get is 17th level. That's 11 levels
that's a big
in
change.
between like bonus things you get. And I think it's again because the actual class is so front loaded.
Yeah.
And like not even that, like the actual, speaking of being front loaded, they've moved the domain choice from 2 to level 1 now, so you can just take 1 level in cleric and get a bunch of stuff. You have to get it's a 3rd level for each domain, but it's the fact that you can choose them is interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. The light domain didn't seem like it changed too much. It was more of just either rewording or some like, hey, we're putting this feature here instead of like at this level.
I misread. They changed. Oh, I see what they did. Okay, the divine order, which is choosing if you're a thaumaturge or a protector. I see. I
okay.
misread that. So no, the at third level is when you choose your subclass, and then first level you get to choose whether you want to be a spellcaster or a or you want heavy armor. Because like the choices, you get heavy armor and martial weapon proficiency, or you get extra cantrip, and you get bonuses to your intelligence, religion checks, and all that good stuff. All right, my bad. I misread that.
It's all good. One of my favorite changes for subclasses for cleric was actually the trickery domain. I don't know if you got a chance
I
to
did
look
at that. The invoke duplicity got some very interesting things.
So much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, being a bonus action rather than action is just a complete different way of doing your action economy.
I would say
and
that
I love the improved.
I would say that no longer requiring concentration is the big part about that thing.
That's huge, because now if I take a hit, my guy's still there, And I was looking at the improved duplicity because they just completely changed it.
Yeah.
From the previous version. Now it can give me advantage on my hits. So having my duplicate next to you gives me advantage. Even though they can't attack you, they seem like a threat, so therefore I get advantage.
It just gives you pack tactics.
Yeah. Now it does take 17th level to get there.
Yeah.
So, this is way upper level.
That's the kind of thing I'm talking about, where like it's hard to give the specialized things cool stuff throughout the entirety of the subclass, because they put so much stuff into the regular cleric. Like 6 is like 17th level. Like you would think, like, oh, you get pack tactics. Like when I think of that, I'm like, okay, so like 11th level.
Yeah. Yep.
No, 6 levels after 11th level. It's like, Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, it is different. I like the war domains. They started adding the weapon masteries to the class.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good move,
Well, if you're gonna have 8, like any of them do that, then yeah, war would be the one. I guess Tempest also might work, but yeah. I don't know. Use the master property of a weapon. It's good.
Should we talk about Druid now, or should we skip it for later? What do you think? It's a big one.
What would you skip to? Is the question.
That's a better question. Let's just talk about.
Let's just talk about Druid.
All right, man. What a change! The biggest change we mentioned a little bit recently in our last episode. I think it was actually for Divine was the wild shape. Right, wild shape was completely different the first time they tried doing it, and then now it's different again. Right?
Yeah, it's different again, but now it's more towards what it used to be. It's like a reversion,
it's
but
a compromise.
It's a reversion, but a nerfed reversion.
Yeah, everybody now gets it as bonus actions. I think that was part of it, right?
All druids now get wild shape as a bonus action.
That used to be just circle the moon?
Yes.
Okay.
Because that was the thing that moon druids did, was shape change, and now it's like, no, that's not necessarily what they're going for with moon druids now, which we'll talk about in a second. Wild Resurgence got a big rework. They brought it down from almost never, no one would be getting it, to most people will get it now, and I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Like you could it's just so you can do the thing more. Like that's just a good thing. I'm not sure how much I like the give yourself a thing for using it. Like, I understand that, like, they want you to use all of your stuff, and so giving you the ability to get it back is, like, a good thing.
Like an incentive?
Yeah, like, it's an incentive to do the things you're good at, which, is never a bad thing, but it kind of, like, it feels weird. It doesn't feel right to me that that's how a lot of things work nowadays.
Yeah, I thought just even, like, the very first level thing was different. Was it the primal order where you choose between magician or warden? Like that's different than what I remember druid being like. It's like from the beginning, okay, let's start looking at the path that really affects your gameplay going later. Like, taking weapon proficiency and medium armor training now can save you a feat later on.
Yeah, it's the same thing they did with the cleric that I misread before, where it's like, do you want to what do you want to be? Do you want to be the fighter? Do you want to be the magician version of this class? Because they're kind of a halfway version between both things.
Yeah.
And druids are the same way. Like druids can be like the spellcasters, or they can transform into a bear and hit you with their and then claw you to death. It's just one of those things.
It seems like a big first level choice though, right? I mean, it which is kind of cool actually. Like, how boring sometimes was it like creating a first level character? Like, this is actually something gameplay wise for a level 1 character that makes a big difference for you.
I honestly, I feel like level 1 characters are just kind of like, it's weird that they are the way that they are, because not only are they boring to play, but it doesn't really matter that they're boring to play, because you can level up within like 5 minutes of playing the game.
Yeah.
Like, well, what was the point of this?
Yeah, like literally any RPG ever made, you know?
It's one of those things that's a holdover from like, this is how we played, this is how we made the game, and then no one ever thought to change it. It's like, well, why isn't level 1 just level 3? Because level 3 is when it is fun.
Yeah.
And like, you can just, oh man, like, that's because like, oh, that would mean that these adventurers are like really powerful compared to everything else. It's like, yeah, that's a good thing, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So, let's talk about the actual wild shape itself. I think that's going to help people if that's something that they're into, or form their opinion about the druid.
That is the big thing.
Yeah, it seems to be a big part of the identity. I mean, which is interesting because the identity of a druid really is just nature, right? I mean, that's the actual identity of a druid, nature full caster. And so it's interesting that the wild shape has become such a big part. And so now what it looks like is that they're trying to make it a little easier with the beast shapes, because now you have like a limit to your known forms.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than be like, oh, I have 50 million, you know what I mean? As long as it's a challenge rating of a quarter or down. No, it's like, no, 3.
It's just better.
Figure out what your 3 are.
It's just to facilitate not stopping every time you want to do a wild shape, and then like, exactly. Oh, here, hand me the monster manual while I wait here for 4 minutes while I scroll through the index of animals to get to where I want to be. And it's just like, that's like, it makes sense in like a I want to do a thing way, but it doesn't make sense in a there are 4 other people waiting for me to do this way.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think it mainstreams it for better than for worse. Yeah. I think I like this. I also like the idea that it puts streamlining. It also puts a little bit more ownership on player prep. Don't make the DM have to look up the challenge ratings for you. Going into this that you have 4 known forms.
And like, I'm gonna be real with you. Anybody who ever did this to me, and I was like, oh, you don't know what the statistics for your form are? Well, that's fucking your own damn fault. I'm gonna make shit up if you don't know. Like, yeah. Oh, you don't like what I made up? That's too fucking bad.
You didn't know it.
Should have got this shit done, man. I'm not here to look shit up for you. I'm here to bring you on an adventure and tell you if you do something wrong, I guess. But yeah, it's one of those things where they've made it a lot. They've streamlined it for everybody. All the druids can do it now, and mm-hmm. the only thing you can't do is have a fly speed until level 8.
Yeah, until level 8. Yeah, and then I also noticed the hit points are your own hit points, right? It's not based on you're no longer tanking with an animal.
Yes, they are your hit points, except I believe Circle of the Moon does get some temporary hit points.
Yeah,
if they are.
And it's low. It's a low amount.
Yeah, it's not a lot. It's like I believe it's either the amount of hit points that the actual animal has, or 5 times your druid level, whichever is lower.
Yeah.
Like specifically,
yeah,
so like it's not a lot.
Yeah, when I did the survey, I actually told them I would prefer it to be like for all wild shape. In my opinion, I want it to be like lay on hands, where it's like it's just 5 times your level. So if you're a level 5, you have 25 hit points.
Well,
with whatever animal.
That is what they did, except they added the little thing of like, oh, but if you choose a weaker animal, then you just get that many hit points. So you can't have like a badger that has 50 hit points if you're a 10th level druid.
Yeah,
because like that doesn't make any sense.
It's a badass badger.
Yeah, because in that case you can do the thing like, oh, I'm super small, so it's super hard to hit me, and if they do hit me, well, I still have 50 hit points, so it doesn't matter. They have to hit me like 4 times. You know, so like it's it's a balance thing, and like I understand it. It makes sense.
For the Circle of the Land, one of the probably underused subclasses of Druid because of Circle of the Moon.
I mean,
Do you think
all circles of the Druid are underused because of Circle of the Moon?
Do you think this playtest helps fix that? Do you think subclasses became more feasible? I like the new one, the Circle of the Sea. I thought it was fun.
I do like them. I'm interested to see how the other ones are affected, because like a lot of them are going to be, as much as they don't want to redo Tasha's and Xanathar's, like these aren't necessarily super compatible with what they did in those books. Like there's a lot of stuff going on, but I do like that. I do like that they can change whatever, like specifically Circle of the Land. Like they can choose lands to get their their bonus spells,
their spell list.
Yeah,
and they're fun spells. I think they amped up the spells themselves.
I mean, they've got freaking Fireball, Sleet Storm, Lightning Bolt. Like these are good spells.
Polymorph, like you know what I mean. Like there's some good shit there, and I think it's more versatile. And I'm definitely more interested in playing Circle of the Land than I was before.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I still think Circle of the Moon made some good changes with making it actually based on lunar stuff, like a lunar form, you know?
I have no problems with it. How I like all of the Druid subclasses, honestly. And like, I don't necessarily play Druid a lot. I think I've played Druid twice ever. But, you know, I would definitely consider doing Circle of the Moon because I like Moonbeam as a spell. Like, it's very useful. Combat Wild Shape just seems like fun. If I wanted to be a caster, I feel like I would go in a different direction than the Circle of the Land, even though they have good spells. If what I want are good spells, there's a wizard right there. It's perfectly good. Just use the wizard.
Why not then?
That's just my specific outlook on it.
The spell list for Circle of the Sea, 9th level, you get Conjure Elemental. That's a fun one to have.
That is a fun one to have.
And Hold Monster, I like that. The Swim Speed at 6th level was nice. They have the Fly Speed at 10th level. Like, there's some good shit. And they get the resistance to Cold, Lightning, and Thunder damage at 10th level.
Yeah. There's a lot of good... They've got a lot of good things. And I think that they had to because they kind of... Like, there is some overlap between Circle of the Sea and Circle of the Land and just choosing, like, tropical or temperate. Because, like, there's a little bit of overlap. Like, they both get...
Absolutely.
They both get, like, Lightning Bolt. Both get... it's definitely a bit more specialized to, like, the ocean.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. Water breathing is good. Swim speed is good. Resistance to cold, lightning, and thunder. Those are 3 fairly common damage types, especially when you're at 10th level. Like, that's when you start to see the... I mean, I guess you're well into the time frame where you're not just dealing with bludgeoning, slashing, piercing exclusively. Yeah, and then they got a little aura for 14th level, which is, you know, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think I like the Circle to see. I think, like you said it earlier, the circles overall just are better now.
For sure. Like the
Druid is definitely a plus.
They've brought down Moon while still giving it like a cool thing to do, but now it's not just the obvious choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next one, Monk. Monk is hit or miss for me. There's some stuff that I actually do see them actually making good progress. Like, it's small, but starting your unarmed strike at a D6 is much better, like, than starting at a D4. Because now we're talking short sword at least. It's
so minuscule that I almost don't even want to talk about it. Like, is it better? Yes, of course it is. Obviously. But how much better is it? Like, let's do some calculations here.
Yeah. Like, well, I mean, I guess starting at the D12, you can hit D12 now, right? Isn't that where it caps out?
Yeah. So it's like
it gets up to a great axe essentially.
It essentially brings the DPR up for martial arts by 1. Because the difference between
on average.
Yeah, the difference between 1d4 average and 1d6 average is 1 damage.
Yeah,
So
that's fair.
like, is that a great idea? Is that like a super strong thing? No, but like it's better.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where I feel like monk was the one class that needed that like really crazy thing, like a complete rework from the ground up. We need to do something about this class, and they just didn't do that. It just because this monk looks a lot like the monk we already have.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, but there are some good stuff going on here. Like, I know that's minuscule, the D6, but the whole idea of I didn't really care. They changed the mark. Was it key points to discipline points? That was just that's just a name change. But I thought what was it at? The heightened metabolism. I like that. So you can regain your discipline points from a short rest. I know we talked about how short rests they were trying to fix short rests.
They're trying to give more things to short rest because the turning warlock into a caster blew up in their face. So now everyone needs to be better at short rests, which is fine.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. The deflect energy was a fun improvement on deflect missile.
That is fun.
That you get later on.
I will 100% say like redirecting a firebolt from one and then throwing it back at somebody, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is that in order to do that thing, you need to spend a key point. And I'm going to call them key points because I'm not going to call them the thing that they want me to call them.
Yeah.
It just takes too fucking long to say that. So yeah.
It does take so much longer.
So yeah, like you spend one key, you get to throw it back at somebody. That's fun. It's cool. It's not that I don't like it. It's just that like you have to spend a key point for it, and you only have so many of those things. And even if you are, level 14, you have 14 key points. It's like, all right, well, that point, sure, but like we've said before, not all the games do that. If you're only like a 6th level monk, 6th to like 8th level, like 6 to 8, like that's not a lot. Especially because a lot of things take more than one key point to do.
Yeah, I did think that there's that new thing that they brought in. Was it the martial arts die? That comes into play later on. If you saw the new feature Defy Death, which is obviously a 20th level feature, so we're talking endgame.
Yeah, the capstone.
When you drop to 0 points, you spend 4 discipline points and you roll 4 martial arts die. I thought that was pretty cool because it was kind of like the.
So you heal 4d12 damage essentially.
Yeah. After going down to 0 hit points, I thought that was a kind of cool little thing.
It is, and like it's definitely interesting because it's like a tanky thing that they're giving to a monk.
Yeah.
But a lot of the things about monks, like the idea of the monk is they want you to be like this melee skirmisher that runs in and like does some stuff and then kind of like ducks out like almost like a rogue. But like they're not good at it. Like they're better as a ranged skirmisher where they have like some other weapon that they can use as a monk weapon, and then they have all of those bonuses, but they just don't use their fist, which is weird. It doesn't really make any sense when you think about it in line with the class. And I'm sorry, I don't have a lot of good things to say about monk. I don't like how they make the class. Like it doesn't make any sense, even if the idea is cool.
I was gonna say, and this may be just me being stupid, but like, I feel like they need another extra attack, like at least to help fight all this shit. Because they just get the one at 5th, and like, the fighters get 3 extra attacks, right?
Yeah.
Maybe just giving monk 2 extra attacks, like maybe that could help just a little bit with the action economy.
I guess I don't really know why actually I do know why they do it. It's because unlike giving a fighter 3 more attacks, a fighter can only do like the things that he can do so many times per round, whereas if you make it so that a monk has 3 attacks or 4 attacks,
key points, like
you're just gonna like you use all of your key points and you're just doing tons of shit and it's very weird. But it also lends into the same issue where if you do that, you're 4 rounds in, you have no key points.
Yeah.
Because you've used all your key points doing all the crazy shit you just did.
Yeah, so you are paying a price there.
And that's the issue with this class, is that they have key points and there's nothing else. There's no other way that they do stuff. It's all key points.
Yeah.
So this is why I said the thing that I said earlier, where like I like that they have a diversified resource pool as opposed to putting everything into key.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, because a lot of my fixes, to be honest, are actually still using key.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my idea was, I thought it'd be cool to use the martial arts die also as a self-heal.
Mm-hmm.
So they can spend a key point to self-heal kind of thing. Kind of like meditation.
Well, they do the thing where you can use a bonus action to, like, get rid of charmed, frightened, or poisoned. Like, that's a thing you can do.
Yeah.
And, like, that's cool. That makes sense for a monk because you're, like, controlling your whatever, and that doesn't cost anything. That's just you just use it costs a bonus action.
Yeah,
that's not that bad.
Yeah, that's fair. Anything in the subclasses stick out to you? I'm looking through. I didn't see much in Shadow.
Shadow does the thing where you can cast darkness, but you can see in darkness. You get minor illusion. You still get your teleportation in dim light or darkness, which is good. It's not anything crazy, really.
Yeah, I like the Way of the Elements, the new thing, the environmental burst. It reminded me of the Arcane Eruption a little bit. Essentially, it's like a big elemental explosion, but you use the martial arts die for it.
Yeah. It's pretty good. It costs 2 key points to do.
Yeah. They did you see they nerfed the Quivering Palm?
Did they?
Yeah, it can't do as much damage as it used to.
When you hit a creature with an arm strike, spend 3 key points, LOL. Number of days, which lasts for a number of days equal to your monk level. The vibrations are harmless unless you do that, and then it does 10d12 plus your monk's level of force damage.
So it used to be I can knock down any hit points down to 0. I can literally
I see.
I could one hit someone.
Okay, I'm gonna be relying on you to tell me what the monk used to do because I don't give yeah. I mean, I don't.
It makes sense. You shouldn't have a one hit.
Adding your monk level to a 17th level thing seems strange. Like I'm not really sure what that is about. Like this makes sense. It's like like plus 17, plus 18 is like okay. Yeah. All right, whatever. And like it is probably one of the better capstones, just because like it's good. And Constitution saving throws aren't necessarily super common in monster stat blocks. Mm-hmm. So like that's a thing. That's not terrible. Why does it have to be discipline points? Why is it key points? Just let them do things.
I was wondering if there was some kind of reaction that caused that, but I have not heard anybody talk about key points negatively. So I'm curious. I would like to, if audience knows something that we don't, let us know. But like
am I crazy?
I didn't know.
Am I crazy for thinking that key points are bad? Or do you mean like the name of it you're talking about?
Yeah, I don't know why they changed it.
Who knows?
Yeah. I like key points in general. I do like the key mechanic. I just wish that they got more key points in.
Yeah, but you like Witch Bolt, so what does that say?
Well, you know what? I've grown away. I got pissed when I realized that Witch Bolt doesn't scale with the concentration. Mm-hmm. Like you can hit it for 2d12, but it doesn't stay 2d12, and that pisses me off.
It's fine at low level, but once you outscale it, you leave it in the dust.
Yeah,
where it fucking belongs.
Right, let's get on some better stuff here. Paladin made some good changes.
Did they?
I liked what they did.
Do you?
Yeah, the lay on hands as a bonus action is beautiful.
That is good. I do like that.
That is so nice. I can finally do attack, lay on hands.
Yeah, that's true. You could do that.
So I do like that.
Mm-hmm.
the smite as an unarmed strike. Now, you and I talked about that. Any DM who wasn't allowing that, dude, why, guys? Why?
Yeah, that's just weird. No, the thing that I'm talking about, where I was like, "Are you sure it's good?" is now the paladin smite spells, right? These are all the spells. These are like I think all of them except for one of them, and we'll confirm this later when we look through the.
They're exclusive now, right?
Well, some of them are exclusive. Some of them clerics can do, but most of them are exclusive to paladins. But the issue with them now is that they are a bonus action to cast.
Were they not already?
No,
I swear they
before it was an action part of your attack.
Oh, okay.
Which is much better.
Yeah. I think there might have been a couple that were bonus action. Like, I think Searing Smite, because I used to do Searing Smite.
Some of them were a bonus action to cast, and then they did a thing. But most of them were, as part of your attack, you do a thing. It was like Booming Blade, essentially. But,
okay,
better. Yeah.
The best balance was the Divine Smite. I thought the fact that they made Divine Smite only once per, was it a turn?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's much nicer.
Well, now it's going to be once per turn because it's a bonus action.
Yeah, could you imagine sneak attack? Yeah, I mean in the same.
Well, I mean that was the cheese, right? That was the good cheese that they had for Divine Smite.
But that is gone.
Yeah, it's just. Yeah, and like I'm looking at the playtesting now. Divine Smite. Bonus action which you take immediately after hitting a target with a melee weapon or an unarmed strike. So it's not even like you can put it on and then attack. You have to you have to save your bonus action until after you attack to then use the smite.
I didn't think of it that way. That's interesting.
Yeah. So like it's definitely worse than it is now in 5th edition. So.
Yeah, I did not think about the fact that you might forget to save your bonus action.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that is interesting. So
doesn't sound like a big thing, but sometimes people don't think about that.
Yeah. I do like, I cannot stress enough, the lay on hands is a big deal because it's a big mechanic of a paladin,
Yeah. It's just now the paladin is bonus action heavy, and like there are things you won't be able to do. Like you can't do a smite and a lay on hands in the same turn.
You mean they're a monk now?
I mean, yeah. No, they're not reliant on key points. They're reliant on their action points. Economy doesn't make it's not as convenient as it used to be.
Yeah.
Used to like
that's fair.
Yeah, like it used to be like, oh man, like 5th edition right now, you can, if you're a paladin, like, oh, smite this guy for fucking 5d8 damage and then lay on hands my friend for fucking 30 health points and you feel like a fucking badass.
Did you see they got rid of Oathbreaker, by the way? It's now just a RP thing. Like there's no actual Oathbreaker class anymore. I was reading about that.
I don't know if they're not going to have that. It may not be in this particular playtest, but I very much doubt they're not going to have some kind of actual mechanic for oath breaking.
Yeah, essentially they were trying to make you go and just join a different oath. And I was like, that's weird. You don't just immediately take up a different oath. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I didn't like that.
Like, I mean, what do you... Because like the question is, if you do the thing where like, okay, you've broken your oath, you're not a paladin of devotion anymore. You've lost that. Do you just lose all your levels? Like what is that? You're like a level 0 motherfucker now? What is that? I don't know.
Because they're like, oh, you just become an oath of like ancients or something like that. And it's like, no, I didn't just magically start taking a different oath.
Yeah, I don't know what they're thinking there. If that is what they're actually wanting them to do, I'm peering into the future with my third eye and thinking they're probably going to have some form of mechanics for oath breaking.
Yeah,
like not to spoil anything, but like I can't imagine them not having that. It would make no sense to not have that. It's been part of like a blackguard has been part of the whole thing since 3.5 and hasn't gone away since. So I don't think it's gonna go away now. Also, taking away subclasses is not what they're going to be doing. Like, if anything, they're just going to like keep the Oathbreaker, because here's the thing: you can still use the Oathbreaker from 5th edition. Like, this is 5.5. It's backwards compatible. So like, it's neither here nor there really.
Yeah. Did you say earlier that you liked the new Oath of Vengeance? Was that something that you liked, or?
I liked the Oath of Vengeance because it made sense for my character to do.
Gotcha. Okay, I wasn't sure it was a mechanic thing.
I mean, I do like the mechanics, but I like the mechanics of the old one too. So it's just kind of like, yeah.
I like the vow of enmity thing where like you can now transfer it after the creature hits 0 hit points.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of like Hunter's Mark. You know how you can transfer your Hunter's
Mark?
Yeah. I like that they said, hey, yeah, you can transfer that. It doesn't just go away.
Yeah, I really do like vow of enmity, and I like that. Giving yourself like it's a really easy way to give yourself advantage, which is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then what I was planning on doing is getting Elven accuracy for Saphira. Like I think it's like either the Xanathar's like racial trait, where
the one that gives you advantage.
Well, what it does is if you have advantage on any attack that uses a dexterity, intelligence, wisdom, or charisma attack roll, you get
it's a critical.
No, right? You get like bonus. You get ultra advantage where you can re-roll one of them.
Oh, that's what it was. Because I know when we had one of our sessions with Shattermare, they were talking about it.
Yeah,
Elven accuracy. I think it was the Mesozoic Park.
Makes sense, but yeah, the Elven accuracy is anytime you have advantage, you can re-roll one of them, which gives you like super advantage.
Okay.
It's like a lucky feat, but you can use it more than 3 times, and only for attacks, I guess. But it's really good. I think it's pretty on point for Saphira, because she's going to be using a lot of charisma based attacks.
So we got a couple more classes to look at here. One of them is the Ranger. I am disappointed in it. Just that I know I've said it a lot already, but I think that it doesn't go far enough. I think that they thought it'd be fun to go, oh, we'll just give you Conjure Barrage and Conjure Volley as class features, and that will make you happy. It's like, no, they were fucking spells that I could get. I don't want them as a class feature. I want to have new class feature stuff.
Yeah.
I think Hunter's Mark is still not fixed.
Hunter's Mark is one of those things where like they're not going to fix it, and like they tried to fix it and then they went back. It's like, guys, just make Hunter's Mark not bad.
Yeah.
The Ranger...
It's not a big ask. I don't think it's a big ask.
The Ranger falls into the Martial area, and the Martial... the entire Martial subclass of power balance is completely fucked, because for some fucking reason, they don't understand that the power level of Martials at high levels is so fucking bad.
Yeah.
It's so fucking bad. And like, I'm going to give you an example that I've heard from... it was either Pack Tactics or someone from a different a YouTuber. Like, let's look at the 17th level thing you get as a Ranger. It's Conjure Volley.
Conjure Volley. Yeah.
Like, that's a spell. I think it does like 10d8 or something like that.
It's not even that much, I don't think. Yeah, it's not great.
Well, let's look it up. Conjure Volley. How much does it do? 8d8 force damage as a 5th level spell. So,
which is a top level spell. Like that's
the most you get is 5th level, and so this is level 17. At level 17, your wizard friend is transforming you into a dragon. They have 9th level spells. They just true polymorphed you into a dragon, and you are too scared to give a martial character anything that does over 8d8 damage.
Yeah, it is stupid. It is extremely stupid. And they don't get they get only 1 extra attack, you know? Mm-hmm. That's so annoying. And like, I'm of 2 different camps with Rangers sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, you know what? Can we just give them all Beast Companion and like fucking then give them a different subclass? Because maybe just a Beast Companion will make it better.
I mean, they gave Wild Shape to every druid. I don't know why Rangers can't have You know what they should do is the same thing they did with the cleric and the druid, where like they have two separate ideas you can go with. Like you can go with like
I would love
like
that.
like here's like or three like here's like because they used to do this for like as a fighting style thing, which I guess you can still do.
You still have the fighting style, but I would like a level 1 thing. Would you like to be more of a caster, like a beast range, like a master,
Mm-hmm.
like a animal companion person? Or would you rather be more of a martial person? I think that would be great.
I think that's the easiest way to solve this.
Fix.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think you do that, and I'm broken record, and you make fucking Hunter's Mark scalable, like every other martial die and everything else.
It's another one of those things where they're afraid that Hunter's Mark, if it scales, will be too powerful. But like, do the math on this. Hunter's Mark.
Have you seen Sneak Attack?
First of all, you only we'll get to Sneak Attack. If you're a ranger, you only get 2 attacks, right? Like they don't get more than that.
Nope, that's it.
So like at best, at a 5th level spell, Hunter's Mark, you'll do an extra 5d6 per hit. Which if you do the math on that, so let's do some math here. So if a d6 does what 1d6 does is averages at 3.5. So you times that by, what did I say, 5?
5, yeah.
All right, so that's 17 and a half damage per, like, if you, assuming every single attack hits, that's an extra 17.5 damage rounding, like, on average. Now, you're not gonna hit every time, so we're gonna multiply that by 65%.
Mm-hmm.
So that's about 11 damage. For a, like, and now, to be fair, this is over and over and over again, and you get other things besides that, but like 11 damage per round
isn't killing shit.
Like, it's not crazy, but like it's pretty good for a 5th level spell, which is fine. You can be good. Please make it good.
Yeah.
But like, first of all, it's only one attack. It's like one enemy per thing. Like, it's not an AoE thing. It's not anything else. And like, this is the same thing for Hex, but Hex is a little bit different because, Warlocks do actually get 4 attacks at like 17th level or whatever.
And Hex gives you the ability to give something at disadvantage, right? You pull something down.
What it does is it gives disadvantage on ability checks, which is it can be good. It can be good, but it's niche unless you have the. Well, we'll talk about that in the next playtest.
Yeah. I'm trying to see anything else really stick out to you on the Ranger. I mean, I just think they copped out. Like, they were like, yeah, Conjure Barrage is a pretty cool spell. Let's make it a feature. And I can't stress enough that's like, no, that's not. Let them just get this. Let them pick that spell. Give them something else that balances them.
Yeah. Like the speed up is good.
At least they get weapon mastery.
Weapon mastery is good. They get I don't know. Like, I'm looking at the level 18 thing where you get blind sight, but it's only at 30 feet and it's at level 18.
Yeah. Good luck getting there again.
Yeah.
They also they did some weird stuff. If you got a chance to look at the Beastmaster, they didn't make the Beastmaster any better, which is what I was hoping they would. Because to me, the best version of Beastmaster is Drake Warden from Fizban's. And what they did with Drake Warden is that my Drake making an attack is not a part of my action economy.
Yeah.
And Beastmaster is still, to this day, I have to use a bonus action for me to have my beast do something.
Also, how come druids get to be whatever they want to, but rangers still have to use these shitty fucking templates?
They're dumbass templates too.
Like, they're not even good.
Yeah, and they don't scale well. It's bad. Look at the fucking armor classing. The armor classing sucks. Like, yeah, it is shit.
I understand that having an entirely, like, playing 2 characters essentially is rough, but like, they're so afraid of making marshals good. They're so terrified about making marshals good, and they just they don't seem to realize that marshals are so outclassed post level 15 that it's a joke.
Yeah. No, you hit the nail on the head with this level 17 feature. I think that's honestly, I never compared the two. I know in my head I'm like, oh yeah, at 17th level, full casters get 9th level spells. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I know that, but I never put together, what does a ranger get at 17th level? Oh, okay, bullshit. You know?
Yeah. Like a 5th level spell, which is fine because they're a half caster, but like they 2 attacks. Like, I know you're most likely have 2 weapons, and therefore you get more than that because rangers have...
You get the bonus.
Yeah, because rangers have that. But, like, it's just...
It feels like a multi-class class now. It doesn't feel like a class that I'm going to stay in my whole time.
It really...
Unless I just love the RP.
Honestly, I agree. I feel like taking 3 levels in ranger to get to hunter, and taking, like, either horde breaker or retaliator or something, that would be really good.
Just for the... Yeah. Horde Breaker is really nice.
And at 3rd level, you get Hunter's Lore, too, which is pretty good. Which means, basically, you get to ask the DM, like, oh yeah, what's the weaknesses of this creature that I'm looking at? And they just have to fucking tell you, which I think is funny.
Yeah.
But, like...
Was it the Final Fantasy, what is it called when you, like, you peer into... Oh my god, I can't think of it. When you look at what the stats are.
Oh, scan, essentially?
Scan, yeah.
Yeah, and then...
Kamari from fucking...
But yeah, and then, you know, Hunter has some pretty good stuff. They have evasion once you get to level 7. Or you could choose uncanny dodge if you want. Like, you get one of the rogue things, because, God forbid, any marshal is as good as the rogue is.
Yeah. Well, I think you mentioned our segue there.
Yeah, I think this is a perfect way to go into rogue, the good martial class.
Yeah, so well done.
Is
this the one?
This makes me mad.
That they fixed the sneak attack?
This makes you know what? Rogue is so good. It makes me mad. I'm upset at how good Rogue is because you compare it to the other martial classes and it blows them out of the water.
Yeah. Just to be clear, this is not the... Oh yeah, this is the good one. This is the one that has devious strikes.
Yeah, this is the one that has cunning strikes.
Yeah, fucking great.
But the best addition to this game since Weapon Mastery.
Yeah, the idea, because it's a trade-off too. That's my favorite part, is it's a trade-off. They don't just get that. They have to sacrifice damage to do it.
Yeah. And like that's such an interesting thing. Like it makes like oh man, do I want to give up my damage to like, you know, do a thing, or like let's see what the things you can do. Like, oh, do you want to poison them? Dude, poisoning somebody for all it costs is 1d6 and you get to fucking poison them. That's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Now they have disadvantage.
It's disadvantage on all their attacks. So good.
Oh, by the way, disarming someone is not to be overlooked. Like, think about how good disarming can be in a fight.
And like, it's not even like the best part about disarm is that it doesn't even say that it has to be a weapon. It just says item.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking, is like roleplay wise, something stole, like you're in a heist mission.
Yeah.
You can disarm the person. You know what I mean? Like, that's great.
Like you're fighting some guy and like he's holding up the freaking, MacGuffin from a string, and then the rogue just like cuts it and takes it. Like, that's fucking excellent.
Oh, here you go. Withdrawal. I can do what do you call it? Oh my gosh, what is that called?
Disengage.
Disengage and still have my bonus action? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so great.
There's one...
And these are just the low ones, by the way. These aren't devious strikes. These are just the cunning strikes.
Yeah. There's one that I'm going to bring up when we get there that's gonna blow everyone's mind because it's so fucking good. But yeah, like cunning strikes, the baseline 5th level rogue cunning strikes, disarm, poison, trip, withdraw, and like the trip is just if it's large or smaller, it succeeds on a dexterity saving throw, which usually large monsters aren't necessarily super good at, and they just get prone. So good for 1d6 damage. Considering at 5th level, like what's your you're at 3d6.
I was about to say, that's what I was gonna bring up. They're at 3d6 at 5th level, and they're getting uncanny dodge in that same level, and you're going up in proficiency all in that same level. 5th level is beautiful.
Oh my god, it's so good.
You feel like a god at 5th level.
And like, it's oh my god. Steady, like, they at 3rd level they have a bonus action advantage. Like, as a bonus action, you get advantage on your next attack roll. It's on the current turn, but like, fucking,
but still,
holy shit!
Yep.
And they get weapon mastery. I don't know why, but they fucking get it.
It's in their sneak attacks, but okay.
God,
yeah,
they're so good.
Okay, look at those devious strikes. Daze, knocked out, obscure. Ugh. Now, knocked out is a 66. It is.
It's a lot.
You're using essentially everything, right, to get that. But once again, unconscious for 1 minute.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I mean, it's pretty good. And then obscure is they're blinded until it's only until the end of their next turn, but like, it's pretty good.
Yep. Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah. And
I do think that the cunning strikes are more bang for their buck at 1d6. You know? But...
Absolutely. Absolutely it is. And then, let's moving on to Arcane Trickster, but like Arcane Trickster, like it's I guess a freaking 2/5 caster.
Yeah, it's 2/5. They do get cantrips though, unlike half casters.
Yeah, that's true. 3 cantrips, yeah. Well, Mage Hand and 2 other cantrips.
Yeah, my ranger doesn't get that, so.
Yeah, fuck you, right?
Yeah, right.
Oh man.
Now I don't think they changed too much for Arcane Trickster because it's already it's a good subclass.
You get spells. Spells are good.
Yep, it's fun. It's great for RP at the same time. Cool look to it, like a cool vibe to it. All right, assassinate for the assassin. You now have advantage on initiative rolls.
And then you get the extra damage if you go before them. Like surprises. I don't even know if surprise is going to be.
You no longer need surprise. Like that was the main thing that caused people not to be able to assassinate was the not having surprise.
Yeah.
You just got rid of that requirement. Assassinate is now going to happen so much more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Assassin did not need to get better, but it did.
But it did. And and this is another thing too. Like this is the same as like the cleric, where like there's not a ton of stuff in the subclasses for rogue, but the rogue itself is so good that it doesn't need it.
Yep.
Squashbuckler is fun. I mean, we can talk about the assassin a little bit more, I guess. I like the envenom weapon. It just
that's cool. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah,
I'm super into poison weapons ever since I played Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, they 5th edition kind of overlooks poison as a thing, like in specific poisons especially.
Yeah.
And then 17th level you get the Death Strike, which is a pretty good capstone for assassin. Like succeeded concentration throw or attacks damage is doubled, which it doesn't say that it doesn't count for sneak attack or for crits.
Yeah. So a double.
That's so much damage. And you know what? The craziest part about that particular thing is think back when we were talking about the monk and what it had to do to get the thing that it needed to do at 17th level. And then look at rogue, and it's just you just get to do it. You just get to do it.
It's just handed to them. Yep. No key point. Just that would have cost like 6 key points.
Yeah, like whenever you hit with your sneak attack, which should be every single round.
Yeah, just get fucking advantage.
Well, I mean, this only applies to the first round of combat, but still, like starting out combat, bam, advantage, sneak attack, fucking 7.5% chance of getting a fucking critical. Just fuck. It's really good. And then they also have some sneaking around stuff. the infiltration expertise where like you just are really good at being at assassinating. Like it's good.
Yeah, it's a really useful, like if that's the route you want to go, they have made that option extremely rewarding to take. You know, you can spend all 20 levels in Rogue and you'll be happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, its capstone's pretty good.
Thief is a good one. I mean, already like Thief is a good subclass to have.
Did we go over? We forgot about Swashbuckler.
I missed Swashbuckler. Sorry, it's on the side, isn't it? Yeah. Well,
it's okay. It's fun.
Yeah.
A charisma bonus to initiative is fun. Goad is fun. Awe is fun.
The pairing stance is
pairing stance is really nice.
Yeah.
You know. Master Duelist is also really very interesting. Immediately after using your.
I feel like
Go ahead.
If I'm a mid maxer, I'm not going to choose it. But if I'm a role player, I'd choose it because it might fit my character. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Can definitely agree. All right. Is it time? It's time.
Oh.
We're going to bring up Thief. 9th level Thief. Supreme Sneak. If you have the hide action's invisible condition, this attack doesn't end that condition on you if you end the turn behind 3/4 cover or total cover. You sacrifice 1d6 damage to continue to be invisible.
Yep. Which gives you sneak attack
Which
on the
means
next
you just
one,
automatically get sneak attack your next turn. What?
For 1d6, you can own property as a...
For 7 damage per round, you can become unfucking targetable. Unless they do something to, you know, change that, but holy shit.
Yeah, unless you're, you know, fighting True Sight, it doesn't, you know.
Unless they do something to bring you out of it, yeah. And then, Thief also has the interesting thing what they've had since 3.5, or 3.0 actually, where they have, like, the special ability to use magical devices. Which is weird. Also, they get an extra magical item to attune to them because lol. Why not?
Because they're a thief.
Like, it's roll a d6. On a 6, you use that thing without expending charges. You can use any spell scroll. You can use any spell scroll. What the fuck? This is all of the best parts of martial and also the best parts of spellcasting.
All in one.
There's no reason not to. It's like, if you want to be like the most fucking broken fucker, get a friend to make you spell scrolls or sell or buy spell scrolls. Any spell.
And you can use
any spell.
Oh, so good.
I can't.
What's the last part? The thief's reflexes?
Who cares? You can use any spell. No. Basically, you can take 2 turns during the first round of combat. You take your first turn in normal initiative and your second turn at your initiative minus 10. You just get to use. You just get to go twice because fuck you.
Because you're a thief.
Which means
they're like, you know what, Aladdin, we really like you. We think you're powerful.
You know what? You know what that means? You can cast 2 spells per turn.
per round.
Well, yeah. Yeah, per round. 2 per round. You know who can't do that? Yeah. Literally anybody else.
Wizards.
Oh,
man.
This is what I'm talking about. Like, this is so fucking good. And then you look at fucking Ranger and you look at Fighter and you're just like, what are you afraid of? You gave rogues the ability to use any spell scroll.
Well, we should break from the deep dive for a second and talk about something else. Like, I don't know, sports.
Hateful. My dude, I went to that game today.
You went to the game today?
I was at that game.
Oh,
I was at the game.
Eflin looked so good in the beginning.
He was good until he wasn't. And then he gave up fucking 2 home runs for...
What's with the umpires this year, by the way?
They really want to lose their job. They really don't. They really want to go home, and they want to be sitting on their couch watching the game instead. Because if I'm MLB, and I'm looking at these, like, robot umpires in the minors, and I'm looking at, like... And then you turn your head slightly to the left, and you see fucking...
Angel Hernandez.
The guy... Dude, during the game today, the guy swung at the pitch that hit him, and they gave him first base
on the foot. Yeah,
it's like
they gave him first base.
That's not how the
and he went across.
That's not how the game works. That's not the rules.
And I'm watching on TV, so for me, I'm getting the box and everything, and I'm watching, and I'm no longer calling the strike zone. I kid you not, I was calling what the ump was going to call.
Yeah.
So if it was like 6 inches outside or inside, they were calling outside and inside all day today. I was like, that's a strike. That's a strike. Because no matter what, if it was just outside or inside, they're gonna call it. Down or up, they called the strike zone.
That's not even the worst part. They missed fucking calls right at their eye level. Like there was 3 or 4 pitches where like right at the numbers, right underneath the numbers, the guy's staring right at it, calls it a ball. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, I don't know if what are we doing? What is this? Fuck me.
I was happy for Yandy today. I thought he redeemed himself from the first game.
Wow.
He made some really good defensive plays. I think 2 to be exact. That quick dive where he got the double play, and then the that real long run down the foul line.
Yeah, that was really good too. Dude, he fucking snapped that ball out of the air too. He was pissed. Yeah. He was so mad. Yeah. And I don't blame him.
How often do you see Randy miss a diving catch? You don't see that too
He
often.
was so far away from it, man. He was 3 feet away from that ball. There was no reason for him to dive. I don't know what he was doing.
He hustles his ass off. But
yeah.
I thought he didn't have the worst series, to be honest. I thought, he still got 3 hits out of 2 games. That's not bad,
Some of them were fine. It's like, look, we didn't have Clanahan. We didn't have Springs. We didn't have Rasmussen. We didn't have Brandon Lau, who finally got his swing together. We didn't have Luke Raley. Like, it was...
Who's a big bat. Luke Raley is
Wander
a big
Franco
bat.
Is dead.
Yep.
So, like, we're just... I don't even... And the worst part about this is, I don't know what we do next year. What do we do?
For me, it's veteran presence. I think they need a veteran presence. It's great that we have Junior and Curtis and all these guys who will eventually be good, but when we got to the postseason, we just didn't have the veteran presence.
I guess, because McClanahan's out all next year, Springs will be back. I mean, we have
and Rasmussen will be back at the end.
Yeah, well, man. I guess Savali is staying, which is good.
Yeah, we'll have Eflin.
It'll be good if we just need a different training staff. Like our training staff is.
We're gonna trade Glasnow next year.
Yeah, probably. That's fine.
Yeah.
Glasnow, I don't mind Glasnow. He's so inconsistent. He either has it or he does not.
Yeah. He always has strikeout stuff. He just doesn't always have command. That's the problem.
There's a lot of stuff going on. He's 6'8", so there's just a lot of things that he has to do to get the mechanics just right. And he doesn't necessarily always have them just right.
I texted you during game 1. I was like, his stuff is filthy. Now, he gave up 4 runs. But his stuff was filthy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it was like, and that's what Cash said. Cash was like, what can you, like, he's not on today. And the guy's like, well, he has 8 strikeouts. It's like, yeah, and he's not on today.
Yeah.
That's the thing with Glasnow. When he's on, he's unhittable.
Yeah. So I don't mind. That's why I don't mind trading him, just because we do kind of need to replenish our farm system, because we gave away a lot the past 2 years. So hopefully we can get something for Glasnow. Assuming that we don't just keep him and let his contract run out. But we'll see.
I don't see that happening. Not the Rays, at least.
Well, it depends on what we're doing.
I think that we need someone of that, like, I know Freddie Freeman's untouchable for us right now, even though he was almost here. Yeah. I think we need someone of that age and that mindset.
Well, we've tried that before. It doesn't necessarily always work out.
It's true. Nelson Cruz didn't pay off.
Yeah, Pat Burrell didn't pay off.
That was the worst pickup ever by us, actually, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
well, that was why we got him. And
yeah, he beat us in the World Series and then choked the whole next
Yep.
year. Yeah, I think our pitching is still bright in the future, and I think our team is still bright in the future. It's literally just can Diaz do what he did again?
It's just so awkward because we have so many injuries, we have so much stuff going on. Like, unless we can actually get our money back for Wander Franco, like, what are we, like, I don't know if we can make a lot of moves. Which, I mean, I'm pretty sure we will, because there's no way they're going to make us pay Wander Franco if he's in jail in Venezuela or Dominican Republic or wherever the hell. It's the DR. Yeah, like, if he's in jail in DR, then we're not paying his contract.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. It's exasperating. I'm just happy that hockey is back in a week.
Yeah. They had a preseason game. Was it yesterday?
They've had a couple preseason games, yeah.
Okay. Didn't they play Florida recently? Or no?
They played Nashville. I don't think they played Florida. If they did, I missed it.
I saw the Bucks pull off a win this past weekend.
Yeah, the Bucks looked good this weekend. They looked all right versus the Flyers, the Eagles as well.
Oh, can we talk about something actually? Going back to the Rays real quick. It's been bothering me on social media seeing the amount of people complaining about our attendance during the postseason. We got fucked.
Bro, who the hell is going to go to a fucking game 3 o'clock on a goddamn Tuesday?
You ask me every day, do you want to go? And I wanted to say yes, but I'm a
People
teacher.
Have shit to do. People have jobs. Yeah. It's not like, oh man, I can't believe that. Like, oh, that's not a problem in New York. Yeah, it's because you guys are a bunch of fucking bums with no jobs, apparently.
Yeah. Someone said, someone from New York Yankees said, try getting to a Yankees game during game day. You mean with your public fucking transportation?
Bro, it's so easy to go to a New York Yankees game. It's so easy to go to a Boston Red Sox game. You can park fucking 20 miles away, and there's a train that brings you there.
Yep. And it's right next door. Like, the stop for the stadium, I've been there, it's right there.
No.
Yeah, I mean,
no, it's not the same. And anyone talking about Minnesota, like, oh, Minnesota's like, oh, we had a 3 p.m. game too, and everyone showed up. Yeah, you have 2 fucking cities that are both larger than Tampa right there. So fucking get off our dick, all right? You want people to go to the game, make it at a point where people can actually fucking go to it.
And they weren't full. Their stadium just has more capacity than ours.
No.
19,000. Today we had 20,000.
Yeah.
20,000 is very high for us. Like, we gotta understand that, like, I couldn't see. Did they open up the upper top?
Yeah,
the
upper section.
Open? Okay, so with the upper section, we get up to about 35,000. That's what we can hit. Without the upper section, though, we're 25,000. You know what I mean? Like, that's about what we hit. So it's not like 19 is underachieving. That's actually not bad for a Tuesday and a Wednesday game at 3 p.m.
Yeah.
In St. Petersburg.
Look, like,
against Texas.
Well, here's the thing. It's in St. Pete. It's gonna be in St. Pete. They're not leaving. They just signed a fucking new thing.
Massive.
They're gonna be here till fucking 2035 or some shit, like, at least. So stop complaining about it. I don't want to hear about it anymore. You want to fucking complain, like, just either you're gonna go to the game or you're not. Here's the thing, like, do you want to go? If you live in Tampa, or, like, God forbid you live, like, south of Tampa like you do, how long does it take you to get to the fucking stadium?
40 minutes at the most.
At the least, I would say.
Oh, well, it depends. Like, if I'm, like, speeding.
I mean, here's the thing. Walking out of your house to walking into the stadium.
Oh, no, that takes about an hour.
An hour
and a half.
An hour is a long time, man. And when the alternative is, well, I could do that, or I could stay home with my 60-inch television, high definition, with a beer that costs $3 instead of $16, and just watch the game.
Yep.
Like, it's not the same environment, and it's just, like, it's one of those things where, like, people complain about it, like, well, look, you know what? They're not making money off of attendance anyway. They're making money off of the television deals, and the Rays television numbers are fine, so they're not going anywhere.
They're great, actually. Yeah, they're in good condition.
So people can bitch and moan. They're just mad. Like, the Yankees are just mad because their team fucking blows. Whatever.
the last sports rambling I'll say for today is, can we just never use ESPN ever,
bro?
for broadcasting?
I was talking to my sister
They're
about
the worst.
Dude, I was talking to my sister about this earlier because I was there at the game with her, and I was talking like if I was MLB, I would take them off. I would like fucking cancel their contract because they made this contract, and then fucking in June of this year, ESPN fired all of their on-air personalities. All of the announcers they fired. And so these new shitheads are just bad. They're just bad at their job. And like I can't imagine MLB is sitting here like, man, I'm sure I'm glad that we gave Disney our business here. This is a really good idea. Holy shit. They're so bad.
I would have paid money just to have Dwayne's stats just please dub over them. Like,
you know what the saddest part about it is? I'm going to say this and you're going to fucking probably knock something over. I would rather have Joe Buck doing that.
Oh, God, no.
I would rather... Dude, he was better than these announcers.
You're right. You are so unfortunately right. The man hates the Rays,
If you are bad, if you are so bad that you are like the fucking nameplate of terrible fucking nepotism bullshit announcer man, like that's the guy. Joe Buck is the guy. Like the only claim to fame he has is that his dad was a good announcer, because he's fucking not.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah, the ESPN is shit. Disney is on fire, and MLB is probably pissed.
Yep. Rightfully so.
Yeah. Spells.
Right. Well, back into the deep dive with spells. Not too many spell changes. I think this was probably one of the lighter things. The biggest thing was a new cantrip in like elementalism. That was new.
Yeah, elementalism, because well, whatever. I don't know why you would take this.
I think Frostbite's new too, right?
No,
elementalism.
No, Frostbite is from Xanathars, I believe.
Oh, okay. So is Mind Sliver. I know that.
Yes, Frostbite is actually a really good spell, a really good cantrip. I believe I have given Saphira that, and because I go back in there and I kind of mess with her around, and it's been a while, but yeah, Frostbite is Frostbite is from the thing. Where do you see Frostbite?
It's under the cantrips on the design notes, arcane spell list.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Elementalism, Frostbite, all of these are, besides Elementalism, are from either Tasha's or Xanathars.
Yeah. Now, the biggest thing just for our listeners is that for playtest 6, the whole arcane primal, it's gone now. So don't even listen to how they divided that.
I'm not even sure who Elementalism is supposed to go to now. Like, is it just for the Elementalist monk? Is that the only person getting it?
I would assume Wizard would have access to it.
Really? I mean, maybe. We'll see.
It's kind of like Prestidigitation, but just focus on the
But worse, yeah, true.
Know? Yeah, fair. Yeah. Some of the things that they did was they just kind of changed whether it's an evocation or not. And then Hex was removed, right? Because it's now just a Warlock exclusive.
Yes. Hex is now a Warlock exclusive. Hunter's Mark is a Ranger exclusive in 7.
Yeah. For the Divine, once again, Divine's gone, but Smite is been removed because it's now like either Syrian Smite or Wrathful Smite. Like there's a specific.
There's a bunch of different smites, right? Yeah. And smites are smites are worse now because all the smites are bonus actions, right? Instead of part of the attack.
Find Steed is now a Paladin exclusive, which I thought was the weirdest fucking thing.
No, it's fine.
I thought it was just random. You know what I mean? Like I didn't see it coming.
Whatever. That's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it makes sense.
Primal has the Elementalism, Frostbite, Thunderclap, and then Hunter's Mark is now our Rangers exclusive, which it should be.
Sure.
But it should also not be a spell in the first fucking place.
Agreed.
And then Conjure Barrage, Conjure Volley also are now Ranger features, so therefore not spells anymore. Mm-hmm. So that was the main thing that they kind of did there. Other than that, there was some rebalancing, right, from the spells that we saw.
Yeah.
So like you mentioned, with Smite is now based on bonus action, but the nice thing is it can be unarmed Smite. Once again, if you're a DM and didn't allow that, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was weird.
I'm trying to think.
Vicious Mockery went up from a D4 to a D6, so good on that.
Oh yeah.
Good on that.
Power word kill. That was a cool one. Before, if you couldn't kill an enemy, if they had like more than 100 hit points, it wouldn't do any damage. Now it still does damage.
Yeah, now it does 12d12.
That
yeah.
way. That makes sense.
Yep.
That makes a lot of sense.
It does make sense. For sure.
Yeah, so I like that one.
Yeah, heal is also pretty good now.
Yep.
Yeah. Besides that, that's pretty much
Pretty
it.
straightforward. Yeah, I think we can move on to feats.
Well, there are no feats.
Well, they did the didn't they move on to gosh.
The only change to
The
feats is
fighting styles or whatever?
Oh yeah, that's true. They did do that. I guess that counts as a feat.
I guess it's more to me it's a feature.
It's not a feat. Anyway, the biggest difference for the feats, actual feats, is the ability score improvement feat, which now if you are level 19, you can go as high as 22.
Yep, rather than 20.
Yeah. Normally it's 20. If you're level 19, you can now use the ability score improvement to make it 22, which is pretty good.
Yeah. Yep. That was the big difference there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, in that case, before we get to the last couple things, I think it's time for scenes from a hat with Kat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm totally 100% prepared. And I 100% have 20 totally awesome things. Just don't roll certain numbers.
I think I totally believe her.
Yeah, I would never lie.
Actually, I'm going to roll an insight check. 16.
Oh, you know that I'm lying. Wait.
Oh, rollies. 4.
You don't know that I'm lying.
Damn it.
Turns out I'm a good liar. What?
All right. So what am I doing? Am I rolling a d20?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Rolling a d20 with this beautiful pink glittery dice.
I don't have a D18, so.
That is a 14 I just rolled.
Ooh, that could be fine. Yeah. So I think you should both do this at the exact same time, because that'll be chaotic awesome.
Oh boy.
Okay.
You've been possessed by an annoying song that is stuck in your head and demands to be played on the closest instrument.
Wow, that's gonna. I don't know if we should subject our listeners to that.
I think my instrument was my voice.
Was your mouth?
We don't have any instruments here. I can't play an instrument even if we did.
What that mouth do?
Cry.
Oh no.
All right, well.
Yeah, so that was courtesy of a person
Thanks.
on Mastodon.
See, I feel like drumming with a mic. Is
No, I don't know.
Akantigwe. I probably pronounced that wrong. You can tell me all about it on Mastodon, because that's where you follow us, or don't. You answered my question. I know what I'm talking about.
Catherine's not half asleep right now.
Honk,
All right, roll
honk
again,
shoe,
roll again.
Honk shoe.
I rolled a 3.
Ooh, also fine.
Glad.
Courtesy of another Mastodon buddy, Archie D. What? A maid shop with fantasy laser tag.
Fantasy laser tag.
Fantasy laser tag.
Or power word kill or whatever. If we don't
Power word
or if we
kill.
don't want to if we don't get sued by fucking
Yeah. Sir, would you like to be on the red team or the blue team?
I'm colorblind. So
Red it
all right,
is.
cool.
So you're going to aim for all the blue team players. Oh, you're colorblind.
The not red ones, I got it.
Huh. Yeah.
And I make a sound with my mouth as I
They
as I stroke the wand in my hand.
they give you like a wand that has like a bolt action attached to it, by the way.
I just imagine like a wand, but it has like one of those orange tips you put on the weapons for cosplay.
Yeah. And like the bolt action is just a twig that you break, like you snap.
Oh god, no.
You see, like, in front of you, like, your team, and, like, there's, like, 6 12-year-olds, all with their wands and their bolt action twigs, and they look at you ready for an inspiring speech. And then on the other side, you see the blue team, a massive, like, 7 people of just they look like Navy SEALs, man. They look trained to kill.
You see the San Diego Chargers. The offensive line of the San Diego Chargers popping out of their fucking magical light up chest plates.
I picture Saphira giving a speech to the kids.
Bro, she hates kids. She wouldn't give a speech to nobody like that. All right, kids.
Fine, Hakuna.
Get wrecked.
Hakuna.
Oh man.
I think in this case, I would pick up a kid, use them as a shield, and just fire off.
It is my great honor to know that I only have but one life to give to this laser tag event.
And the spell is probably just like fairy fire.
Yeah.
Like you're just lighting them.
Yeah, it's like a freaking prestidigitation of just like a bunch of different like lasers going across, and like, oh man, it lit up again, and like, it hits some guy, and then I can just imagine Hakuna freaking picking up a this like big old fucking water balloon and just chucking it into this massive thing, and like this paint balloon just explodes and gets all over everybody.
Frag out.
Boom.
I do think the enemy, the other team, the San Diego Chargers, if you will, they have their captain who is just Dwight Goodman from the Global Gym Cobras. Just standing there in like unnecessary, like gigantic cup. Inflated cup.
Yeah. And then they finally start, and the children are immediately overrun and lose absolutely immediately.
Like immediately.
Like I was like, there's no chance. Like they all just get fucking obliterated.
But Dwight Goodman gets taken out, so it's all good.
The Pyrrhic victory of taking out Dwight Goodman.
Yeah. James Cameron, if you'd like to make that movie, let us know. We'll sell you the rights.
True. TM, don't steal.
Well, thank you, Kat, for these scenes from a hat. And thank you for all of our people who are giving these ideas and letting us do these little scenes for you. All right. Last couple things we have is the weapon changes. Were there any massive weapon changes that you saw?
There's a thing about the weapon changes, because the mastery now, instead of having a basically a prerequisite for the heavy, like a heavy or finesse or reach or two-handed, etc. Now they just have one where like each weapon has its own mastery. But then you look down and you say, and it says, if a game feature lets you replace a weapon's mastery property with another one, that weapon must meet any prerequisite specified for the new property. I don't recall seeing a thing that does that.
Yeah, that does that switch.
Like there are ones where it says you can switch the mastery for different weapons. Like you can go from like a javelin to a pike or something like that. But nothing that allows you to change the mastery on the weapon unless I'm blind as fuck. But honestly, if it were my table, I would just get rid of that column where it says mastery for the weapons and just allow you to choose the weapon mastery properties.
Yeah, I think that's the way because I plan on using this for our campaign and stuff like that. I'm just planning on not using the mastery chart unless people want to use it as a quick go-to, you know?
Yeah, it just doesn't really make any sense, honestly.
Choose from the master property. Yeah. I noticed they added the musket pistol from the DM's book.
They did.
So actually, actually codifying that's interesting.
They actually codified handguns and firearms. Well, there you go.
By the way, it's about time that Lance is heavy and two-handed. Rather than just special.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the special thing was. I guess it was just the mounted part, but like they did this fine right here, where it's like, yeah, it's two-handed unless you're mounted, and then you can use it with one hand. Which I feel.
Oh, this was a. I was gonna say this is a big thing. The throne property is huge now because now you can draw it as a part of the range attack. So you don't have to have daggers equipped. You can throw the daggers that are like holstered in your pouch.
Which makes sense.
You know. Yeah, I love that. I think that's great. Like I can have my, let's say a hammer in a hand and then toss a hand axe. You know.
It also codifies the dagger from Critical Role, which technically shouldn't have been able to happen because of how that whole thing works, but it was fun when we saw it, so yeah.
Yep. Agreed. I think that pretty much sums up the weapons. Like I said, nothing crazy. The brunt, I guess you could say, of the work has already been done for weapon masteries.
Yep.
All right, that leads us to our last section, which is kind of about just the overall anything we should look at or be aware of from the glossary, like the definitions. And as you know, I'm sure that they've been adding and taking some out. It doesn't mean that they're gone forever. It just means we want to focus on a few or something like that.
Yeah, this is not a full glossary. This is mostly just stuff that they've changed.
Yeah.
Which, I mean...
and from what I looked at, everything seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
They were pretty specific on the fly speed, which I thought was good. They mentioned about hover trait.
Yeah.
So that was good because some people had a disconnect with what happens if you become a fly speed of 0.
Yeah.
Well, you start to fall unless you have hover. So that was a good clarification.
Yeah. They've done a little bit more with the invisible condition, where they've basically made it more like they codified that, like, if you are invisible and somebody sees that, and then someone can see you, you're no longer considered invisible. Like, they just made it a thing where, like, it's not, you don't get to do that weird interaction they did where, like, I can see where they are, but they're still invisible, so they still get all the benefits of being invisible. So why did I do this?
Mm-hmm.
And, like, the biggest one that I've noticed is influence action.
Yes, that's a new thing they're actually they want to keep going with, because they mentioned it in playtest 7
it's very Pathfinder of them.
Yeah, it's essentially like an RP action.
Yeah.
Right? You could argue.
Oh yeah, for sure. Basically, you're trying to influence somebody's attitude towards you, or a like ability check or something like that. It's interesting.
Go ahead.
It's basically the thing that people were doing anyway. They're just like, oh yeah, I want to try to lie to somebody, and now that's an action. Mm-hmm. That's like an actual thing that is codified in the game, which I think was fun. Yeah.
They did a thing. Well, a couple of things I liked was, like, swim speed is no longer like you have a separate swim speed for PCs. Mm-hmm. It's literally just a swim speed means you can do your normal speed while swimming. I thought that was a good change. Tremor Sense, they made the clarification about objects in the air are not part of Tremor Sense. I thought that was smart clarification. And Unarmed Strike, they have the 3 choices now. You can do damage, grapple, or shove. Mm-hmm. Each have their own possibilities in what they do. So I thought that was good. That was good too.
That's pretty good. Long rests, now regain all hit dice.
Yep. Rather than, was it half?
Yep.
Right? Half hit dice.
So that was just something people did anyway, so they're just like, fine, whatever.
Yeah. They keep using this term magic action. I think that's here to stay, guys. Magic action seems to be a way of separating using magical items or doing spells.
I think, again, they're doing this thing where they're codifying things people did as actions, which is very Pathfinder of them, which is fine.
Mm.
They've got some specific things for moving, where, like, you can break up your move. You can move around specific creatures. Nothing crazy. Nothing really.
Yeah. It seems like heroic advantage is here to stay. Instead of calling it inspiration, it sounds like they're going to keep the heroic advantage terminology. It's the same thing. It's literally no different.
Another action brackets is study. So, like, if you're studying something, like if you're trying to...
Yes, I saw that.
Like, that's a thing where it's just a thing people did. Now it's in the rules.
Yep. Yeah, codifying RP was a good idea, I think.
It's not a bad idea. The only issue I have with it is that it codifies it as an action, I mean, I guess I don't have a problem with it, but like it
instead
is an action. Like that, these things are actions if you try to do them in combat.
Yeah, that is true.
True sight.
We've been pretty nice about perception checks and stuff like that not being actions.
Yeah. So now it's gonna be codified, and like it's the same as anything if you want to do it or not for your table, but it does exist.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah. Teleportation is codified, which is interesting because a lot of people like are saying like, oh, can I get a opportunity attack if somebody teleports? Nope.
Yeah.
Specifically, no.
Yeah, they made that very clear.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's time to start wrapping this up with our overall thoughts on the playtest number 6. For me, if I was to think about this as an overall document, I think it makes more good than bad, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I don't have anything specifically to bash it besides
what we were
besides
about,
please
right?
fix Monk, and please
Ranger,
and please fix Ranger. Please fix Marshals. Like they don't deserve this. If a wizard can turn you into a dragon, like what are we scared of here? What's the problem?
There are more marshals than just rogues.
Yeah, true. Stop giving rogues everything, and give a little bit to your friends, aka marshals.
Yeah. Other than that, good job on Druid. I think there were some great compromises made for Druid.
I think Druid was really well done. I think
Cleric had some fun.
I think Cleric
stuff.
is good. I think Bard is fun.
Bard's always fun. Though.
Yeah. Monk's bad. Ranger's bad. I'm sorry. Yeah. No, I don't like the new spells for. I think Paladins got a net decrease. I think the making the smites a bonus action that has to be done after your attack is a little too limiting for no real reason. I don't think that was especially overpowered, but maybe it was. I don't know.
Yeah. Make sure you guys, our listeners, let us know what your thoughts were on this one as well. Let us know if we're just rambling about jack shit. Because we do ramble, but in the same point, hey, I think there's good and bad to be said about the system.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see what happens in 8. I'm holding my breath for some fixes.
Well,
I thought 7 made some good movements, but we'll talk about 7 maybe next time.
That's the plan, I believe.
Yeah. So, Andrew, sell me a magic item with magic item infomercial.
Do you want to smooth things over with that short guy you keep using as an armrest? Do you want to make sure that you know exactly what he's saying, what he's talking to you about whenever he's talking about that weird scribbly, the weird scribbles he says during his forging? Do you want a really, really cool beard? We've got good news. We have the Belt of Dwarven Kind straight from the diplomats from the Ruined Forge over in Forgehammer. They want you to buy this so that you stop treating your armrest like an armrest. I mean, your dwarf friend like an armrest. Not only will this glorious item give you advantage when talking to all dwarves and give you a really, really cool beard, it'll also give you a little bit of a sturdier constitution. You'll be able to drink till the night ends and then the day begins again. You're just still drinking. And not only that, it'll look real stylish while you do it. Belt of Dwarven Kind. From Science, and Not Science. Patent pending.
Very good. The Belt of Dwarven Kind. A personal favorite.
Classic.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today here at Tavern Tavern Ramblings with Lizards and Locations. Today we talked about playtest 6. Our goal is to talk about playtest 7 next time. And we'll dive into that, get into those classes, get into those changes, and stay tuned each week as we bring to you guys different topics and different things, all things D&D and TTRPG. As well as some, I guess, sometimes some sports. Sometimes you just need to talk about some
Eventually,
sports.
we will talk about a different tabletop role-playing game. One day.
Absolutely. One day. And it'll be good to kind of look at different RPGs in general, right?
Absolutely.
And we also want to say, make sure you check out Lizards and Locations and their plethora of different campaigns going on. Can't wait to talk more with you guys. Can't wait for the next season in baseball for the Rays to fucking do better. And thanks so much for joining us. And can we roll yet?